Okay, I think we can start. So, hello everyone. Please welcome Andrii Soldatenko, a senior software engineer and open source contributor, public speaker from Ukraine with years of experience. And in this talk, he'll share simple ways how to make code reviews better. And if you have any questions, please type it on Discord channel. If we have time after we can have a discussion. So, please.
Thank you. 111. Cool. Yeah, it was a nice joke. Cool. I'm happy to be here. As Sandra presented me, I'm Andrii, originally from Ukraine, but last 3 years I live in Austria, in Vienna. It's a very nice city. In my free time, I love to do lots of sport and some contributions. You can find some links about me. But today we will talk about something different, just about code review. And the motivation to make this talk was this funny quote that everyone likes to complain about everyone else's code. I think we do it every day. And before we start, how many of you know something about code review or does it every day? Just raise your hand. Cool, it's very nice audience. So just very quick recap. What is code review? It's just a process when code is reviewed by someone other than you or author, often before merging to whatever main or another branch to your project repository. And of course, in different companies, the definition can vary. So, and everyone can adjust it a little bit. And usually it happens in rounds. So it's iterative process. Each round kind of you give feedback, author reply, etc. We will go deeper later. And as a result, every code review finishes with this acronym. I think everybody familiar with it. It looks good to merge or looks good to me, whatever you prefer. And yeah, but before we deep dive to the topic, ooh, I like it. How many slides you skip? See, no reactions. I thought there is no coffee enough. Okay, so there was slide. Yeah, so there was a quote. Okay, and there was a nice picture. But as I told you, every code review finish with this looks good to merge or looks good to me. And yeah, but before we go super deep, a bit history. So, like officially, historically, the first review process was studied by Michael Fagan in 1976, and it was called inspection. So, for sure, other writers who wrote books did some review, but code review or like inspection by code was kind of officially published by this guy in his very famous paper. You can Google it or read if you want. But for me, personally, the most important historical moment was when GitHub introduced very first pull request. In my opinion, this feature really changed slightly how it's behaved nowadays, and it was like more than 17 years ago. And yeah, this like the idea behind this name was like someone can pull your branch and kind of test it. That's why it's kind of pull request. Yeah, a bit weird, but yeah. Other tooling call it like merge request or change said request, but yeah, with GitHub we can call it just for simplicity pull request. But why is code review so hard? Because one of the reasons when programmer send a list of changes, they think usually it's awesome, it's best code I ever wrote, like it's amazing. And then someone can kind of send you criticism to your change, and you can be like very disappointed. And yeah, but always we should all keep in mind that code review is just opportunity for both sides just to share knowledge. I will talk about it a little bit later, but and it's not like kind of personal or like your own stuff. Usually project is something shared. Uh, Before I ask you, you all mostly raise a hand, but I have another question. How do you think how many hours developer on average spends weekly for code review? I, 10 hours? On average, okay? Oh, do we need another talk about like average? Like, this AI and statistics nowadays. Okay. 10, what else? 50? Ah, 15. Man, 50 would be nice. Okay. What else? What you? 30? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean, at least I don't have like nice numbers, but what I did is, according to Stack Overflow survey, it's a bit outdated, but it says like 56% of, so everything sum up on the beneath, 56% of developers spend more than 4 hours per week, which is kind of a lot. So as I told you, every pull request, it's a difficult conversation. And why? It's we love premature optimizations, so we kind of love to suggest you in PRs use LRU cache sets instead of lists or arrays. Like do these performance tips randomly I learn on another like website, and it's really kind of make it worse. And the last point about why code review is also hard, it's kind of a form of control power. Nowadays we see in the world people love this power, but we are developers kind of same. So it's sad, but I saw like some teams, they apply very harsh review to external teams, which try to contribute to your project, or even inside a teams like junior developers receive very hard or like harsh or like reviews just to kind of show them they're just juniors. So we should be very careful here, because sometimes teams really believe their job to kind of protect the code base. No one can touch it. Remember I told you it's my amazing PR, so it's my amazing pull request, it's my amazing project, but you should treat projects either like a team artifact or team responsibility, and we will discuss how to improve it. I just show you problems. That said, I personally have never experienced working, like there are two setups, like pre-commit code review and post-commit code review. I mostly talk today about pre-commit code review. Yeah, I stole this nice picture from this website. So you can see the idea is you do pre-commit, like you do code review before merge to trunk. But post-commit, you can learn it separately on your own. It's another alternative idea, which is kind of has lots of benefits also, as when you kind of review after it merged, and yeah, so you can do more like after like post-commit review. Let's computers do boring stuff as we do nowadays. So all this process, in my opinion, should be automated. It will help us a lot in the long run. And we can ignore huge class of the issues just by automating it. And we are lucky in Python, I mean, kind of, because fight nowadays it's less popular to fight about number of spaces, but previously it was an issue. I work a lot with Golang where like they have this Go formatter, and I was really happy when Python like uh, implemented the same using Black or Rough, etc. We will discuss it now. So first topic is linters. I think you're all familiar with it. Uh, like nowadays, Rough is a kind of a standard de facto. Many people love it and trying to switch it if you're not. It's really faster than other linters because it's conceptually written a little bit differently and it's used lots of Rust under the hood. Yeah, previously I personally used a lot Flake, which is kind of nice, and there are more strict PyLint one, which Google highly recommend a lot. So one of the linters would be nice if you don't have it uh, to implement it to your project. So we should not at least fight about some styling and other like violations of whatever new lines and how to name variables, etc. And we can also format it. So as I told you, Raft supports formatting, but I think Black was the one of the first who kind of inspired by Go formatter and other languages, which is super nice idea. You just format it automatically and problem solved. Yeah, Roof can do the same. There was this YAPF, it's also mostly from Google. And I used once a few times this after PEP 8 before Black, I think. Just format your code accordingly to PEP 8 standard. Um, yeah, this one you probably already know, so it's kind of not interested. One interesting topic I would like to tell you, which I'm using few years so far very happily, is dependency management, but not about security, more like remove this mental overhead or like extra work from your developers to bump changes or like dependency to bots. So bot can kind of make sure that he create PR and you as the owner of the project can review it and you will test CI separately. And this is a very nice idea and you will not see any more these PRs bump this version manually and yeah, make sure it works. Uh, Testing is kind of important as a code review tool as well. So if tests fails, usually we in our team not even start reviewing anything, and it's kind of a guard before start reviewing the process. Yeah, nothing to add. Just make sure you have it. Uh, Code owners. Uh, Code owners is a very nice idea. When you have big project or projects, you can selectively defined as a tree of list of owners or kind of safeguards for responsibility to review specific directories, which can automatically trigger review from these people if it's GitHub. Other tools do the same, more or less. And there are some more complicated, like I work on a little bit on Apache Airflow project. It has very big owners file, which helps you easily to figure out who should you talk if you want to change specific file, or at least which review you need to ask for. So implement it, it will save you lots of like also seconds, but since you, as we all realize, we spend lots of time for it every week. So every tiny bit can reduce this extra effort and you can focus on important stuff. And also as a benefit, you can Yeah, it's not presented, I think, in this slide, but on previous one, you can use groups. So if one developer quit, another join, you just update group. You don't even need to change this file. But in open source, it's more like usernames. One of the important kind of, let's say, document in your project is a style guide, which helps you a lot when you fight inside your code reviews. I call it like to be or not to be a style guide. And what is the question, right? Should we kind of adopt an existing style guide when we start a project, or should we create your own or combine approach? So if you want to adopt existing style guide, yeah, there are a few style guides you can find online. They are very specific, and maybe you can go wild and just apply it Google style guide blindly, but it has lots of internal like nuances which probably you don't need in your project. Create your own style guide, I think, is a topic of separate talk. I just kind of suggest you there are a few rules what's to put in your style guide. You just add something we want to avoid, like avoid danger, enforce best practices, of course, and ensure consistency. Because when you even if something not ideal, but it's consistent across a project, it's much easier to enforce it and maybe later refactor with tooling. If you want to know more, just go and read this book. There are not entire, like a chapter, number 8, I think, which has how you create your own style guide. And combine approach is, I think, what we do in my project. We just kind of use as basis some well-known and just extend it, or say we don't want to force you to go this rule. Yeah, so no silos. It means everyone should and must review code in your project. Like, don't put all code review on one guy or girl who can do everything. And now just quickly let's revisit two sides. They're like author routine and reviewer routine. So create PR when you're done. Okay, so tests are passed, no debug, print statements, everything clear, and you can push it. Because historically we developers a little bit lazy, so we kind of, it's semi-work. I will create a PR, reviewer will do it. Just respect reviewer's time. It's very important. So, for example, use Git hooks. Before you commit, you can enforce all checks and yeah, make smaller changes. Okay, so the bigger change you make, the better. No, the worst. See? So someone even tested GitHub that 300 files, no diff. You can't see it, right? So like carefully scoping your PR to ensure effective this code process. Why? Because smaller PR, smaller changes, easy to revert. So if something goes wrong on production, we can easily revert. Same, narrow scope. So in this screenshot, you can see the author change behavior and refactor. So if you can, try to do it separately. Change behavior change and separately refactor. It will be much easier to review, because in this screenshot it seems you change a lot, but technically you just add if statement and refactor as a function. Write clear PR description, give context, show before and after if you want, and some screenshots and etc. You can also validate your PR title, you can validate your commit message, you can do a bunch of stuff. For example, this action, do it. And communicate your response explicitly. When you fixed all questions, use this please take another look. It's very nice because you're not always, or you can just click re-request review, depends on your team setup. I personally believe that code coverage is also nice guard or safeguard for your project or before you start code review. Why? Because sometimes it's hard to figure out if change and tests are much, or maybe I miss some important tests. So code coverage report can show me should I even start do code review or author just forget to write tests at all. Now, last but not least, is reviewer routine. So, for example, your colleague not familiar with list comprehension, and you receive this nice snippet of code, and if I'm a reviewer, say just, can we simplify it with list comprehension? And he will be very disappointed because he's not sure about how to do it. What you can do instead, let's simplify it and suggest a change. So you kind of demonstrate what you want, because for you it's much easy effort than for this guy. Code review minimum, it's what we call in our team, not required but very important. It's when you do more deep code review. So you check out the branch locally. If it's complex change, you build the project and you do some exploratory testing if you want, because some changes are really tricky. So yeah, just same as I told. Important quality gates during code review. We all should know that review is a critical process. So we should behave like the process should behave as a bad cop, but reviewers still should be as a good cop. So don't mix it up. I would say this is a really game changer when I learn it. So especially for people who use English is not as a first language, so never say you, it's just unpolite. And instead of can you rename this, just say can we rename this, because we're a team, and it's really change your kind of team setup. And another idea is just use passive voice. So we just say the variable should be renamed, or like, what do you think about the renaming this variable? It's very tiny bits, but trust me, some people are very offensive and they are very sensitive. So if you just rephrase your style, it's change a lot. Feedback as request and not as a comment. So like, instead of saying move downloader class here, because we are not talk to each other like give me this cup of coffee. Usually we say like, can you please give me this, right? Same in PRs, like can we move downloader class here, there? It's just more polite, and people will be very satisfied. Because remember, if you want to be a more senior engineer, code review and teamwork is inevitable. As I told you already, suggested changes, my favorite. So this one has two on the same slide. We suggest a change and we have provide evidence where it's possible why this change makes sense. So we remove any kind of argumentation or whatever. Same, limit review on similar issues. Now, if you see a problem 3 times, just comment once. Respect the scope of the review. So change is good, but like you can say out of scope or optional, like we can refactor it. As I told you, split larger reviews. And my favorite one is like offer price. Like just say nice words like, oh, I learned something new. from your PR. It's for both sides, to be honest. Or like, this is an elegant solution which is kind of make your relationship much better, and like etc. Don't forget, you build it, you own it. Yeah, minimize lag between rounds of review. So don't disappear for weeks after you get review. So try to reply as soon as you can and make this process a bit faster. Yeah, I'm mostly done. As I told you, healthy code review culture is a key. Don't review the author, review the code. Harsh review really can hurt, and it will make very bad kind of relationships in future. As I told you, remove the person, keep patient conversation, and yeah, don't review the code. We are mostly done. Respect each other. Automate every rule in your style guide, or it doesn't make any sense, because it's very hard to force someone to use style guide. You have to kind of read it and support it. Better to automate it. And let computers do boring stuff. Yeah, we are done. There are a few links. You will see slides so you can later see it. Here's the questions and here's the slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrii, for this informative speech. And we don't have time for any questions, but you can memorize his face and meet him after.
Or forget forever.
No, yeah, so now we have a couple of minutes until the next presenter comes. If you wanna, you can stay in this room or change to another one. Thank you for coming here.